Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are diving into a super helpful topic: how to get SharePoint images library data in bulk and automatically email them to your teams. Whether you are managing a large images repository for your organization or just want a better way to share media file, I'm going to show you how to streamline the entire process using Power Automate. So let's get started. I'm inside Microsoft SharePoint and I can see an images library here. So if I go to the right hand side and I can change the view to the tiles view, I can see there are 5 images with their name. Now, what if I want to send these images externally to some third party to review the images or something like that, and I want to send them via email? Instead of downloading each image, I can write a flow to basically fetch all the images, put in the email and send it. So for that, we need to navigate to Microsoft Power Automate. So I will navigate to make.powerautomate.com, and from the left-hand menu, I will click on Create. For this demo purpose, I will just create an instant cloud flow. You can always create a scheduled flow if you want. So I will select instant cloud flow, and then I will give this flow a name. I will just call it email images, and I will select manually trigger a flow. So that will be our trigger. I'll click on create. So first action we need in this flow to get all the images. So we will get the file. So I will click on the plus sign and add an action. I will select get files properties only action. In this case, our site is the KeaPoint site. So I will select that from this drop down. And if you can't see your site in the drop down, you can always enter custom value. So I can see it here. I can select that. The library name, I will click on the drop down and then I will select image library. I don't need to do anything in the advanced parameter unless you want to filter something or order it. Otherwise, you can just leave it blank. Next, I need to define a variable. The reason why we need a variable is because there will be multiple images. So we will fetch each image URL, put into an HTML format, and then append to that string variable. So when we'll have a final string of all the images which we can push it to the email body. So I will click on the plus sign, add an action. I will select initialize variable, and then I will give this variable a name. I will just call it code string, and then the type will be string. Next, let's apply a loop to this get file properties action. So I will click on plus sign, add an action. I will select apply to each control. I will select the previous action, which is get file, as an input to this apply to each control. So I will get the body of that get file action, and then I will select it here. Now inside apply to each control, I will click on the plus sign and add an action. Now the action we need a compose action because we need to take the image and put into an HTML format so we can send it in an email. So I will select the compose data operation, and inside the input, I would say image, which is an HTML control, source is equal to, and then I will select a source within this inverted commas, and the source is going to be dynamic. So I will click on this sign and then get file properties. I'll click on see more, and then if I search for thumbnail, so you can select small thumbnail, large thumbnail, or medium thumbnail. In this example, I will select large thumbnail, and then you can assign an alt text for this. So alt could be just image, and then you can close this HTML tag. This is essentially you need to get an image inside an HTML control. But let's make it a little bit better. So what I will do is instead of this, I will say this. So I've created a div, and inside div, I just put a style margin bottom 20 pixel. So we'll have some space between each of the image. And then I'm adding a h2 heading, which means that I'm adding a name of that image, which is again a dynamic value, and then the image source, which is thumbnail medium. And then I'm closing the div here. Now next section is that for each of this compose output, we need to append to that variable which we have initially created. So I will click on the plus sign within the apply to each loop, add an action. I will select append to string variable, and then the name of the variable we know is code string, and the value is going to be dynamic, which is an output of that previous compose. So that will be the value. Now it will go through each of the image. It will create an HTML code for that, and it will append to the string variable. Now next thing we need to do is outside this loop, we need to send the result via email. You can also do various things. You can create a Word document or PDF from it and send that PDF via email. For this demo purpose, I'm just going to add everything into an email body and send it to someone. Click on add an action, and then email, send an email action, and then I can select myself for testing, and subject, I'll just call it images. And in the body, if I click on this dynamic selector, I can see the code string variable. So the code string variable now have all the HTML code for each of the image. I will click on save. So let's recap this workflow before we test it. So we are manually triggering a flow. We're getting all the images from that library, and then we have initialized the variable. Then we loop through each image, and then we have created an HTML code for each image, and then we append that code to that variable we have created. And then we have, at the end of this loop, we'll have variable with all the images in HTML code, and then we will send that via an email. So let's click on save and test it. I will click on test. I will click manually, click on test. It is asking me to sign into SharePoint and Office 365 Outlook connector. I will click on continue, click run the flow, click done. Now you can see the flow ran successfully. As you can see that email is being sent, and we can see the title of the image and image thumbnail as medium. So if you want to send a full size large image, you can change the thumbnail to large. So let's do that. So next we will change the thumbnail instead of medium to large. So I will click on edit this flow, and then in the compose step where we're saying thumbnail medium, I will click on the little crosshair, and then within the quotation I will select the dynamic value again, and then I will select this time thumbnail large. Okay, let's save and test this flow again. I'll click on test. I will manually run the flow, click test, run flow, done. Now the flow ran successfully, and as you can see, this time it has added the thumbnail large for each of the image. So image title, and then we have the proper image showing here in the email. That's it for today. Now you know how you can extract bulk images data from your SharePoint library and email it to anyone effortlessly. I hope this video was helpful. Don't forget to like, share, and drop a comment below if you have any question or need further clarifications. I will see you in the next one, and until then, keep automating and stay productive.